Hey guys, it's Maggie. I am very glad to be back here. Sorry I haven't checked in with you for so long, but I missed you, and so I've been super busy, and I thought I'm just going to do a random stream of consciousness video as I'm going out to do some interviews today. One of the things that has continued to come back to my mind is, and I've mentioned this to you guys a little bit, but I am a mental health professional, and my clients are mostly people who have committed some kind of a violent crime, such as sexual dangerousness or domestic violence. And then I also work with folks who have abused or have alleged to have abused or neglected children. Anyway, so that's where I'm coming from. And one of the things that I've noticed both in my own life and in the lives of my clients is avoidance. And avoidance it's not just you're avoiding things that you don't want to deal with. And I kind of wanted to delve into that a little bit today. And I thought I'd start with an example. I had a girl who was court ordered to go to treatment, not with me, but with another provider. And I was interviewing her, and she said that when she finished her therapy, now her therapy delved for her into a lot of history that was hurtful for her, and that history was impacting her current level of functioning emotionally and otherwise. So it delved into a lot of history that she needed to deal with, but it was extremely painful for her. So when she finished with her therapy, she went directly to a local gambling place and gambled. And she said, she was so very honest, and I appreciated it. She said that the reason that gambling was her go-to at that moment was because it helped her to avoid thoughts and feelings of those can of worms, so to speak, that she just opened in therapy. God love her. So that's a form of avoidance, and it's not your run-of-the-mill, I'm just going to turn my back on that load of laundry and not do it. I think sometimes that's what we think of as avoidance, but avoidance is also mixed in with lots of addictive and pseudo-addictive behaviors in humans. So another example is eating. So we're having a hard time in our lives, and I've mentioned just briefly in the last few videos that I've done, maybe even way back, I don't know, it doesn't matter, that I had a trauma recently, and now it's been about 2 years. But anyway, when I had this trauma, I have never been much of an emotional eater, and for once in my life, I started eating very emotionally. And looking back on that, I've really curbed that now, and I'm starting to lose a little bit of weight. I'm almost 50. Honestly, I'm good with not being a size 5, so I'm not getting too upset about it. But I look back on that, and I think the things that were comforting to me were things like cake and ice cream, sugary cereal, those things that they occupied my brain. I love cake and ice cream so much. When I'm eating cake and ice cream, there's no way in heck that I'm going to be thinking of my feelings of trauma or bills that need to be paid or anything else. I'm just thinking about the sensation of having cake and ice cream. So that's another form of avoidance. It's not as obvious as I'm just not going to do the laundry because I don't want to. So I think we need to remember that when some crazy social service worker like me uses the term avoidance, it's not just, I don't want to do the laundry. It's much more than that. There are more layers to avoidance than just, I don't want to do the laundry, because I really don't want to do the laundry. Anyway, there were some other examples that came to my mind. Let's see. Excessive sleep with people who are depressed. That is a form of avoidance. Now, I'm not against a nap. People who know me know that I am all about the nap. I love naps. They're some of my favorite things if I'm tired. But I know that there have been times during my trauma and during times that I had things in my life that I really should have been dealing with that I wanted to go to sleep, and it wasn't because I was tired. And I feel like other folks use excessive sleep subconsciously. I'm not saying that they're being poorly behaved or whatever, but sometimes when there's a bunch of stuff that you have to deal with that's super heavy and you don't want to deal with it, taking a nap is actually a lot easier than dealing with your business. So, and as I was driving earlier before I clicked on this video, and you poor things, you have to listen to my stream of consciousness. As I was driving, I was thinking, we don't typically, if I want to escape and I want to avoid, let's make up a topic, bill paying. I don't want to pay the bills. So I'm going to eat cake and ice cream and take a nap. Okay, that's a bad idea. It's a really self-destructive idea, but the truth is, it will make you feel better for a very short amount of time, just like drugs would. Just like if I said, I'm going to go to the bar and drink 12 beers, that would make me feel better for that very short amount of time, but it would not be dealing with the problem. So I thought, how funny would it be if I needed to avoid something, instead of taking a nap, or any of us. I'm not dealing with a lot of avoidance right now. I'm just using myself as an example. But if I needed to avoid something, rather than eating cake and ice cream and taking a nap, those two things that really do make you feel better, but only short term, and it can actually make things worse. What if I said, I'm going to avoid paying bills by going to the local coffee shop, drinking black coffee, having a salad, and going online with my laptop and trying to figure out a better way to pay my bills, brainstorming with myself or even with a friend. So that's it's not avoidance, but it is a form of avoidance because you're not directly dealing with the problem, but you're dealing with it from another angle than you would have anyway. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I think that this is something that works, for some people. Now, I have heard people say things like, well, of course, going to get coffee and an expensive salad at a coffee shop with your laptop is an option for you because you are middle class and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not talking about myself, but I've heard this kind of feedback from other YouTubers, or for other YouTubers, such as The Financial Diet. Love The Financial Diet. If you guys haven't tuned in, I especially love Chelsea. Anyway, okay, so my suggestion of, instead of eating ice cream, eating some vegetables, and instead of taking a nap, going to a coffee shop, is maybe not something that a really poor person could do. I get that. We all don't have the same blessings as the other, and that's just life, and it sucks. So let's think of something that, a similar coping mechanism that we could do with no money at all. So I don't have any money. I have bills to pay. What I want to do is eat cake and ice cream, which is relatively cheap, not super cheap, but it's relatively cheap, and take a nap. That's free, right? What kind of avoidant action that might be healthier could we do that might actually begin to deal with the problem of not being able to pay bills? Well, if you have paper and you have a pencil, you could sit down and make a list of those things that you need to pay. If you have a telephone, which most people do these days, not everybody, most people, however, do have a phone, so they could call their creditors and maybe try to make different plans with them than you already have, and just, you could get a drink of water instead of coffee. You could make a cup of coffee at home. Now this is nothing. I realize I'm not poverty stricken, thank God, I'm very lucky, but at the same time, and I'm not saying anything I'm saying is a solution, but at the same time, what I'm saying is, even if you don't have any money at all, there might be something that just one time you could try instead of the proverbial eat cake and ice cream and take a nap. That's not going to make you feel better. So anyway, those are just my random stream of consciousness, being a social worker, driving down the road for hours on end, stuff that I think about. Sucks for you because you have to hear about it. Anyway, thank you so much, you guys. And sorry I haven't checked in with you for a while, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.